Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? It's so nice to be here. First of all, I want to thank ZLA for the warm invite. I just love that group of awesome people. My dear friend Frida, I just cherish her. So thank you so much for having me here. My name is Constance Moonzwe. I am the Chief Talent Officer of RSMC. Now, I mentioned Chief Talent Officers. You notice I didn't use owner, founder, or any of those words because it's important in business to use your working title, what you do for a living. So for me, I'm responsible for the day-to-day operations of RSMC. All our staff, external and internal, report to me, so I'm kind of like the mastermind behind that group. So what is RSMC? We are a national recruitment and search firm. We're in the business of placing dentists, so we are very niched. As you all know, the money's in niches, right? So it's important to be focused. And so we place dentists in 43 states now. This is my fourth startup. I thought my third one was my last one, but I think I have a few more years in me. I was asked to speak on mindset and the importance of investing in your network. And that's a timely conversation because RSMC almost never happened. After I sold my last company in 2017, I thought that I was going to be, a trailblazer and mentor others to do what I've done, and that was a complete disaster. And I thought that, maybe I should pivot, do something else, and I really struggled with mindset. And it took me from 2018 2019, then COVID happened, and I said, oh, for sure, I was not meant to do this again. I thought for sure it was a sign from the heavens, and I convinced myself quite convincingly, and I had many conversations with Frida about, I should just go do something else. And so I really struggled with mindset, and I concluded that, us as a diaspora, we are the 1%. We are here for a very specific purpose, and we must not waste time just messing around, and we have to be very serious and very intentional. And my gift is business. It's what, from a young age, I felt I was called to do. I started my first startup at 25, and here we are on the fourth one. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about my thoughts when it comes to mindset. And I think about Joseph, right? I think about Joseph in the Bible. We read about him in Genesis. And if you understand the story of Joseph, what do you understand? That he had a vision, right? He had a vision that his brothers didn't see. And oftentimes what happens in business is that you have to see beyond your present reality. You'll have to be able to hold on to a vision that is not laid out. It's not all pretty. And what happens is that when you have a vision, you have haters, right? You have the people who are going to come against you. Sometimes it's your own family, sometimes it's external, sometimes it's finances, right? All these obstacles that we have in business. How do we hire the right people? How are we going to pay for our business? How are we going to grow, and how are we going to scale our business? To me, that reminds me of some of the questions Joseph must have had as he had this vision and trying to figure out, how am I going to get there? And we saw that his brothers didn't think it was a good idea, but we all know how the story ends, right? We know how the story ends. Joseph was victorious, and not only was he victorious, he went back and helped the very same people who persecuted him. And so to me, that's kind of where I went when I thought about what will it take to start another business, and how do I want that to look like? RSMC for me is sort of that journey that I'm on right now. Now, we have grown pretty quickly. We also recently signed another agreement to staff dentists for a ton of hospitals and universities around the country. And so in just a few months, we have seen not only the work of just tenacity, resilience, persistency. And, quite honestly, between me and you guys, I do feel that RSMC is probably going to be my masterpiece. Why is it going to be my masterpiece? It's been 16 years. 16 years of mistakes, 16 years of wins, 16 years of failure, 16 years of victory. So 16 years now coming together to create this one masterpiece. And we're going to go quicker than we've ever grown before. We're going to expand not only nationally, but internationally. But this comes from having the right mindset. Now, Angela Duckworth defines mindset, grit. I don't know if you guys have read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. If you've not, it's a must-have, especially if you're a parent. Because she defines grit as passion and perseverance for long-term goals. You have to be passionate about what you want to do, and you have to be able to persevere through it all. And so to me, books like reading Grit and reading Scaling Up, and I'll talk more about that, have been a source of not only knowledge, but it's allowed me sort of to implement these things. So Grit was one thing that I really held on to when I was thinking about my mindset. Another one is something that Will Smith says. I love Will Smith. I don't know how many Will Smith fans are in here, but I really do like Will Smith. But he says, he says something that if there were two people on the elevator, if he was racing with somebody else on an elevator, not an elevator, I'm sorry, on a treadmill. If there were two people on a treadmill, two things would happen. Either the other person was going to get up or he was going to die, right? And that is the mindset of growing a company, is how many times can you fall down and keep getting back? I like to say you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And so that is your mindset as you're going through it. So a couple of things I wanted to share about what it takes to be successful, at least from a mindset perspective. One is 100% accountability. When you're starting a business, it's not about your employees, it's not about your manager, it's about you. As business owners, we always have to take 100% accountability. After all, it ends with us. And once you understand the seriousness in which you have to run your business, it starts to shift. So mindset really is the changing of your mind over time to hit the goals you want to achieve. You have to become an expert. You have to be extremely good at what you've done. Now, 16 years later, 4 startups, but what did all my startups have in common? They were all in healthcare, for the most part, and they were all staffing and recruitment companies. You know what they say, 10,000 hours to mastery, right? And so you keep beating and beating and beating on your craft. You have to be the best at what you do. And so even though RSMC is a startup, our goal over the next few years is to dominate that space. We absolutely have to be the best at what we do. And when you have that mindset in business, it changes how you think, how you move, how you network. It changes your whole perspective. You have to move quickly, so for all intents and purposes, RSMC we incorporated in 2019. I was not serious about the business until 2021. It's because we make decisions quickly and we're very decisive and we're very focused. The 4 things in business I feel like you have to master to be successful: people, process, products, and cash. Most businesses don't go out of business because the idea is bad. Most businesses go out of business because they run out of money. Cash flow is a backbone to everything you do in your business. There is such a thing as entrepreneur poverty. There is such a thing, and that just like individuals can live paycheck to paycheck, you can do the same thing in business. So understanding that cash flow is king is really important, and it changes your mindset around that. People, you have to make sure that you surround yourself with the best people, and this is where the investment comes in. I am not one to shy away from investing in my network. It's something that I've believed in quite, I take quite seriously. My first business coach cost me over $10,000, but that investment opened up so many doors. Because see, when you hire a coach or you work with an executive, what happens is that their network becomes your network, right? And what happens a lot of times as Africans in the diaspora, we don't come in with a network. How are you going to build it? Where are you going to find them? Where are you going to find these people who can invest in your business and open up these doors for you? You'll have to invest in the conferences. Now, you don't have to hire high-valued coaches, but start with where you are. Ask for mentorships, and sometimes you can exchange. So say, hey, I'll do something for you, you scratch my back type of thing. But being very diligent, a lot of people have handbags in their budget. I have conferences in my budget. My conferences are things that I take very seriously. They're line items in my budget. Association clubs, memberships. Because again, we are not from here. So you have to be very intentional about the way you build your network. So for example, last week I was at a meeting in LA. I'm from California. And in this meeting was a VP of External Affairs, and she was appointed by, she is, appointed by President Biden, and she came to me and said, hey, Constance, we have over $100 million that we want to invest in African-owned businesses, so basically an African in the diaspora who's doing business in an African country. How did I get into that room? Trust me, they did not have my number. It is the investment in your network. A lot of doors that will be opened are going to be when you take the time to do that. And now it doesn't have to be hard money. It can also be investment in people. In fact, the reason I was at this event last week was because I mentored a young man a few years ago, and he just exponentially exploded in his career. And what happens is that if you're a good mentor, they reach back and they pull you forward. And in this case, he called me and he says, hey, Constance, in this room we're going to have venture capitalists. We're going to have private equity, over $1 billion in this room. We can only have 20 people, and I want you to be one of them, right? And so that's the importance of not only investing in your network from a financial perspective, but also investing in people. Now, you can't do any of this without faith. A lot of times when you're building something that you don't really have an example of, when I started my first business at 25, I didn't have a lot of role models. I didn't have a lot of people who had done the things that I wanted to do, so I had to have faith. I had to lean back and say, you know what, I have a vision, I have a plan, I'm going to execute it, but I'm going to have faith. And what do we know that faith is what? Faith is the substance of? Right. And so you have to have faith. Another thing I wanted to sort of talk about real quick as I conclude is courage. Maya Angelou says that courage is the greatest of all virtues, because without courage, it's impossible to practice any other virtue consistently. As we stand here as a diaspora, we are paving the ways, whether it be in business, whether it be in finance, whether it be in politics. We are paving the way for the next generation, and we have to take that call very seriously. We have to take, because all these little kids, my daughter's right there, I don't even know if she's paying attention. She's on her tablet, yeah. But we have to pave the way for all the kids that are coming before us. And this is why part of what we do under RSMC and all my companies is about 10% of our revenue goes back to giving back. We have a school in Mokalaikwa, over 1,000 kids that we sponsor. We are continually building in Zambia, and we're building throughout the continent different things. We partner with several organizations who are doing the same thing. We believe in a common vision and a common goal. And we believe that we are called to do great things. And I also believe as a businesswoman, the resources are there. And the resources are there to dream whatever dream you have, to grow any size business. If it's done, that means you can do it. So I want to thank you so much for your time. Have a great day, everybody.